Welcome in. Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we are talking winners and losers for Seahawks training camp so far. Just about a week in, the preseason around the corner. We'll catch up to speed with everything you need to know coming up on today's show. In life, you can only be one of two things, either a winner or a loser. We'll separate the best from the rest here on today's show. Speaking of the preseason, by the way, we have a challenge. We are trying to get to 53,000 subs before the very first preseason game. Just 40 subs away from reaching that X milestone. Can we make it happen? We are your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks, daily news and rumors, live shows, watch parties, Q&A mailbags, breaking news and more. It's all in one place. If you are a real member of the 12s, a real Seahawks fan, you got to be subscribed to Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Let's begin on the winners list with the one and only Geno Smith. You knew it was coming. Geno has been terrific so far throughout training camp and really just in all facets of the camp when it comes to what he's done on the field, off the field as a leader, how he's talked about his head coach Mike Macdonald and everything. I've been so impressed with Geno Smith in about every way possible. And if you compare now to his previous two seasons as the Seahawks starting quarterback, all indications are that this is the best that he's ever looked in camp, that he is thriving right now in this new offense under offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. We've talked about in the past how this offensive scheme is very similar to the offense that he ran at West Virginia when he put up great numbers there with the Mountaineers. And he's even getting the attention of guys on the defensive side of the ball. Jaron Reed had this to say about Geno Smith. Geno looked great. He looks so focused this year. His timing is good. His reads are good. Everything he's doing right now is elite. Meanwhile, we talked about how Geno gave some credence to his head coach, some praise, if you will, to Mike Macdonald. This is what he had to say about playing under his new head coach. Coach Mike Macdonald, he's the best, man. He's putting his stamp on the team. We're flying around. We are working. We are getting the job done that we need to get done. We have to got to win for him. I think everyone has bought in. We are ready to go out there and put on a show. Geno Smith looking to get back to form what he was in 2022, where he had 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, was a Pro Bowler the last two seasons, but that was the first year he was. Also was the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year award winner there in 2022. And quite frankly, I have no reason to think that Geno, if he stays healthy with this receiving core, with the backfield that's there, no reason to think that he can't have an even better season than what he had the first year when he was with Seattle. And you think about the money he's being paid compared to the other quarterbacks right now, this is a very good situation for the Seattle Seahawks. Expectations are high for Geno Smith. I think he's going to have a good year. Are you all in? Are you buying into the hype on Geno Smith entering 2024? I'm all in. I've been sold. What about you guys? Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, in for no, if you're all in on Geno Smith in 2024. The losers list, let's start with QB2, Sam Howell, who has had a rough go at it in his first Seahawks training camp. And I know what some of you may be thinking, well, he's new to Seattle. It's a new system. He hasn't worked with these receivers and O-line and backfield before and all that. And all of that is very true. But even with that said, Sam's on the struggle bus right now. And the accuracy issues are what we worried about when he came to Seattle after leading the league in interceptions last year with the Washington Commanders. That has been a problem for him. And I've heard multiple reports. We'll show you one of them here in just a moment. People are saying that Sam Howell not only has not played well throughout training camp, but the QB3, P.J. Walker, who the Seahawks signed, several weeks back with the idea of him maybe being the practice squad quarterback, has outplayed Sam Howell so far to this point. And he comes in a very similar circumstance to Sam Howell, where he hasn't been around the players, and it's a new system for him, and he's looked better than Sam Howell has. Greg Bell of the Tacoma News-Tribune said the following on Sam Howell. Sam is 3 days into an almost alarmingly inaccurate camp. So far, Days before the team puts on full pads, the Washington Commanders starter last season is closer to competing with third QB P.J. Walker to be Smith's backup than he is for any of Smith's playing time this year. This is not a quarterback competition, folks. Sam Howell is, at this point, just hoping to hang on to be the QB2 at this juncture because it is not going well, but still plenty of time to turn this around. We'll see how he looks when the preseason game rolls around next week. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Game Time. Game Time, the best place to go for last-minute tickets, the best seats, and the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace in Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Maybe you want to go to a Mariners game, a Seahawks preseason game, whatever it may be. Game Time makes it easy. Choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Then you get to choose your seat, and you can see what the seat is like if you want that seat or not. And then just like that, you're checking out Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. It is simple and easy, folks. Save up to 60% off. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball next for our next winner on the winners list, Devon Witherspoon. It has been Devon Witherspoon's world, and we're all just living in it, folks. He has had an outstanding offseason. He has been, without question, Mike Macdonald's favorite player on this team. We heard Mike Macdonald say earlier this offseason that he's the smartest football player he's ever seen. And Witherspoon is turning into the player that you want both on and off the field, as he looks not only the part of a guy that can be an all-pro corner and potentially defensive player of the year candidate and all that, but he's become the leader of this defense. And that was a void that needed to be filled when you talked about the departures of veterans like Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks and Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams. Devon Witherspoon, just in his second year, has stepped into that role of being the voice of the defense, if you will. Albert Breer of the Monday Morning QB with Sports Illustrated, he was at Seahawks camp just this week, and he had this to say, which I thought was interesting, coming from an outside perspective. He said both Devon Witherspoon and Rick Woolen are having really nice off seasons. The former has impressed with competitiveness, edge, and work ethic that has raised the bar for his teammates. It wouldn't be a shocker to see the second-year man named a captain. So how about that from Albert Breer there? Devon Witherspoon coming off the season. We mentioned a Pro Bowler, 79 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 1 interception. Led the team in pass breakups with 16, and he only played in 14 games. Witherspoon has made it known that one of his big goals this year is he wants to play in all 17 games, that he wants to be as healthy as possible, and he's putting in the work both on and off the field. I think you're going to like what you see from Devon Witherspoon this year. Who is a winner from Seahawks training camp? We've named a couple so far. Got more to get to coming up in just a moment, but want to hear from you guys. Weigh in, let us know in the comment section. Give us a winner from Seahawks training camp. To the losers list we go. This is where we find Byron Murphy. How about that neck tattoo saying chosen one? That's pretty brave there. I like the confidence there from Byron Murphy. Not a great first week from Byron Murphy, if we're going to be honest. He did finish stronger in that first week when they put the pads on, felt a little more comfortable, if you will. He showed enough to be optimistic. I didn't want to put him on the losers list, but all the negative things that we heard from the first few days, we had to put him on this losers list. But even with that said, he's a rookie. You're going to go through growing pains. It's not going to be overnight. And Byron Murphy, got a real wake-up call, if you will, of, hey, rookie, welcome to the NFL, right? Going up against this offensive line that has something to prove. Those guys competing for playing time, playing for their jobs, if you will. They tested Byron Murphy early on, but Byron Murphy has since responded. Mike Macdonald had this to say about Byron Murphy. I think Murph had probably a slower couple days than he wanted to start out, but he's bounced back and he's making a lot of plays out there. Initially, you think he's more of maybe a B-gap type player, being able to move inside and out, A-gap all the way out. I think if he keeps staying on this progression, then you could see him at any of those spots. And with Byron Murphy, I think the thing for him that would really help this Seahawks team, you see the sack numbers there, and he took a big step up in 2023 when it came to his sack number there at UT, but it's really about the run defense. That was the biggest issue with this Seahawks defense in 2023, and that's going to be the difference that he potentially provides to this Seahawks defense, is that ability to stop the run there and be a difference maker on a much improved Seahawks D-line here in 2024. Let's go back to the winners list, and this is where we find running back Kenneth Walker III. And Kenneth Walker III, I got to tell you, I've been very high on K9 for a long time. I loved when the Seahawks selected him out of Michigan State 2 years ago. He's had 2 solid seasons so far at this point. Had a 1,000-yard season his first year, over 900 yards last year, and I know he struggled to stay healthy a bit, but the offensive line hasn't done him a ton of favors. What we've seen so far throughout training camp is that Walker's showing if he can stay healthy and the offensive line can do their part, which is 2 very big ifs, there's no reason why Kenneth Walker can't be an all-pro type running back in this league. He's got good power, got good speed, he's a very good receiver, and can play on every down as well. I'm very high on Kenneth Walker, and I think Zach Charbonnet is only going to help the cause there, if you will, when it comes to this 1-2 punch. I think you're looking at one of the best backfields in all of football, and they're all so young. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated's Monday Morning QB on Kenneth Walker said the following. Kenneth Walker III was the star of Monday's practice, the first one in full pads, and it reflected the sort of spring and summer he's had. To the new staff, he looks like the kind of back you can play on all 3 downs, and you can build a running game around. And that's exactly what the Seahawks will try to do, is build that running game around Kenneth Walker, make him the centerpiece, and then get Zach Charbonnet and Kenny McIntosh involved as well. All of them will play a crucial role in the passing game. It's no secret that Ryan Grubb wants to use all his running backs as receivers, and you can expect to see plenty of catches from Kenneth Walker in addition to the run game. Last on the losers list, we turn our attention to Abraham Lucas, who has not been involved in Seahawks training camp. They were hoping that he'd be back in time for training camp. Instead, he is still on the PUP list at this point. And we saw the Instagram video that Abe Lucas had several weeks ago where he was back in the weight room and looked like he was on the right track. But he's not available. And when Mike Macdonald was asked about where Abe is at, he was pretty coy about it. Didn't really give us much of a timetable, if you will, on when they expect him to return. And before you say, well, why would he tell you, Tyler? Why would he give out, trade secrets and all that? Mike Macdonald's been very upfront about other players and their injury statuses. And when he has a timeline on a guy, he has a good track record already of being honest with us and telling us when he thinks they're coming back. Like he told us with Dodson and Baker, he expected them to be back for training camp, and they were. We just really don't know. And now I'm starting to get nervous as we've seen. Remember what Pete Carroll said, that he thought this knee issue was a chronic issue for Abraham Lucas, that it might not be easy to overcome. This could be a lingering problem. Macdonald said this on Abraham Lucas. It's tough with Abe. The guy works incredibly hard, so it's a process right now. The timetable, I can't tell you, but we're trying to get there as fast as we can. Hope it would be fair to say we were hoping it would go a little bit faster up to this point, but we're in the process of bringing him back. We have a plan for him, but we can't tell you right now when exactly he'll be back because he doesn't know. When those things start to become clearer, we'll let you know for sure. We're not trying to pull a fast one. So appreciate the honesty from Mike Macdonald there, being upfront, unlike some of those frauds like Sean Payton, right? The PFF grades last year. Didn't see a ton of Abraham Lucas last year, and just an odd year for Abraham Lucas because his strength is pass blocking, and he struggled with pass blocking last year with a 44 grade, overall grade of 53, run block grade of 58.8 on just 273 snaps. A few more players to talk about before we wrap up, but I need you to name a loser from Seahawks training camp. We've gone through our losers list. Who else comes to mind? Weigh in. Let us know in the comments section. couple more winners for you. Let's go from one offensive tackle to another. That's where we find Charles Cross. And I'm so thrilled that we're talking about Charles Cross on the winners list, folks. The talk out of training camp on Charles Cross is that finally he looks like the top 10 pick that the Seahawks selected 2 years ago out of Mississippi State. To this point in his career, Charles Cross has not looked like that, right? Now, I know that he was banged up a bit last year, but he hasn't lived up to the billing, if you will. And now he's finally showing that, hey, I'm that guy. I can be the anchor of this offensive line. I can be that potential all-pro caliber left tackle. The goal from the get-go for the Seahawks when it came to Charles Cross was they were hoping that they found their starting left tackle for the next 10 years. And if he can continue from what we've seen in camp, granted a small sample size, then now we're starting to get serious about Charles Cross becoming an elite football player. Albert Breer had this to say on Charles Cross. Charles Cross has the look of a guy who could ascend to an all-pro level. And carrying that at left tackle is a good place for any offensive line to start. But there are real questions on what the team will do at the interior spots that need to be sorted through in the coming weeks. And I'll say this. You know, we mentioned those question marks when it comes to the interior and all that. But if Charles Cross can hold his own at the left tackle spot, that's going to make everybody feel a lot better for the rest of this offensive line as far as that goes. Last on the winners list, let's go back to the defense, and this is where we find Uchenna Nwosu. Welcome back, Uchenna Nwosu. Nwosu making his return after playing in just, 4 games last year, and had that season-ending injury. And what we've seen from Uchenna, he's come back with vengeance, right? It's not just that he is coming back to be back. No, he has been holding guys accountable. He's been very physical. Based on the way he's playing, you would never have known that he was even hurt last year. He has come back at full strength and then some so far to this point. Caught the attention of his teammate, Jaron Reed. Reed said the following: Uchenna has great leadership. He's a great player on the edge. He's that physical player on the edge that can rush the passer. I think we missed that a lot last season. No knock on the other guys that stepped up for us last season, but Uchenna is a huge part of our defense, and it's great to have him out there. If you go back to 2022, when he played in all 17 games, had 9.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. If he can stay healthy and do that again, the Seahawks would gladly take that from Uchenna Nwosu. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage throughout all of training camp, subscribe now to Seahawks Today, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time.